What is your command, Megatron?
Subscribe for Magic the Gathering and other content for evil fun.
Fear not, Megatron. Cybertron shall remain as you leave it.
Good morning. Good morning. It is a morning. Late night last night. Ooh. But gotta push on the show. Have some morning coffee. Yeah, I'll wash your cup. Just in case you were wondering, because you saw it last night. You saw it yesterday. Oh, what a morning. So I want to engage and talk about what collecting looks like today, because it's weird. It's weird collecting. It's hard to even put a finger on what collecting is in Magic the Gathering anymore. It is strange. Like, there's been a shift, a major shift in the market of Magic. Like, collecting cards for Buku Bucks has kind of slid to the side. And getting cards worth Buku Bucks is harder to navigate nowadays, unless it's reserve list, unless it's graded kind of stuff. If you can guarantee it's not going to be reprinted, it's going to be worth money. So maybe the collector's market is going towards that. But I see a paradigm in a shift that it's all like a fad, slinging Magic cards. Like no one is showing like their collections anymore, unless it's like sealed product. Some people still have sealed product, but the collector's market's been rough and harsh. Like you don't see people a lot, and I don't see every YouTube channel out there and every post, but collecting is kind of taking a weird shift from what I noticed. Like it went from collecting cards to collect them to slinging packs left and right, and that's become more of a fad than a collector thing, if you know what I'm saying. Like, what's collecting? I mean, I have a collection of cards. I have cards in a binder. Pretty, not much worth of value. And that's not even the point. The value is not the point. The collecting is, I find it hard myself to collect cards because I like to play with my cards. So I aim for cards I need. I aim for cards I want. So it's interesting to see the side of collecting there. Some people are getting into like niche little hobbies of collecting with Magic on the side. Like old product, like not just like sealed product, but like deck boxes made by Magic, obscure little side things, obscure little side things. It's strange to see this growth in Magic, but sometimes it feels like a step back to what's collecting. It is definitely interesting to me. And I know my brain is on tired mode, so I'm trying to invigorate with a cup of Joe. There's like it's not a lie that there's still valuable cards out there to collect, but the popularity of Magic seems to be shifting from keeping to pushing. Instead of keeping cards, people are pushing to sell cards in and out. Like it's been a growing reselling business for Magic the Gathering, where people are growing to resell quick. Like, for the best example I can think of at the moment is like Pogs. Pogs came in Four Keeps. You working or you want to chill? Hello. Zombie. So we're talking. I'm trying to break down the idea of like what collecting looks like here, because it's definitely shifting. And like I was just talking about, like Pogs, it came like it's become more of a collector's market. Like the collector's market of Magic seems to be kind of fading in a way, and it seems like resellers are taking advantage of what's there to resell and flip. Hey, thank you for stopping in and saying hi. Because, like, I've noticed a very trending thing is getting product, selling product, getting product, selling product, getting singles, selling singles. And yesterday we were talking about conflict in the community being people want cards for cheap, but they want to have the availability to sell cards for more money. And that's becoming kind of obscure because they're kind of conflicting. If you want your cards cheap to sell for more, it's not like you're yard selling all your cards. It's not like you're going to yard sales finding cards for cheap. They're flipping them because they're expensive. It's the secondary markets. A lot of the cards are cheap. And to me, like as much as I love cheap cards, I think cheap cards are hindering the game, not because the lack of value, but because nothing special anymore to the value of a card. I mean, $20 cards like money cards nowadays have to be really obscure and hard to reprint. Like there has to be a good reason to reprint it, a set to reprint it in type thing. But most cards are off the table. And maybe Wizards will change. Here's hoping. But the value of a product, to me, to think about the value of a product, like value outside of money, is how much you want the product yourself and how much you want to share the product with others. To me, that's where the value in product comes in. Like when WotC comes up with a nice set that excites me, gets me engaged and happily enraged, to say, like enraged to want to buy, collect, build decks, to be involved and engaged in the game. That's what I mean. And when WotC takes the nostalgia of that feeling, thank you. Me and my wife have twinsy shirts. We got this for our first pre-release together. The shirts. So, remember the time when Wizards would bring out a set? You get all hype. DJ! Stopping in before I crash. Hello, DJ. Hi. Don't crash too hard. So, the excitement level is diminishing from the Wizards game, and it's showing all across the community. No matter what you say, can't convince me. The excitement level is diminishing from set to set. When Commander Masters came out, people were expecting to be dazzled with the information they got on the set. And about the set before spoilers and like the price increase and stuff. People are like, I wonder what's going to be in here to validate this price. What's going to be in it that's collectible, and find out it's just different prints, new foil version or new style card, whatever. That Wizards accidentally have got us, the player base, accustomed to change. Like change used to be exciting or scary. Like when it came to how they did product, you know, now it's more normal. Hated like the idea like collectability used to be obscure, as in it used to be amazing to grab that card you wanted that's been out for a while and you couldn't grab it, but you wanted it and you got it. To now it's overwhelmingly cheap. And I say this because no matter how low WotC sets the bar for how cheap a card can be, it's weird that I see how many people complaining about the price of individual singles. Now, play value, sure. People can complain a card is too much. They don't want to buy it just to put in their deck. But collectability, if a card is low, no one wants to turn it. No one wants to flip it. I saw a comment on Facebook. Someone asked me about their thoughts on Smothering Tithe. And someone says, I like Smothering Tithe. I don't like the price tag of Smothering Tithe. And I got curious, so I looked up the price of the card. Now, there's like a $40 version of the card, but you can get it as cheap as $20. Now, $20 to me is not super cheap, but I know to most of you, $20 is pretty average. Like, you're willing to flip over $20. I remember paying $40 for a Sylvan Library a long time ago. You know, that mentality of wanting to buy is still there. You know, so, but this guy is looking at a $20 card and he's complaining about the price of the card being too high. So, there is definitely a disconnect, not only from WotC to the player base and how the player base and collector base feel about WotC and their sets. There's come a disconnect between players and the game of Magic. And what it comes down to, and then I'm going to get a little psychological on you, like break down the psychology of this, is people are emotionally detaching themselves from Magic the Gathering. Because of the community talking negative, having their old aspect. This is like a bad product. Don't buy this. WotC doing so many bad things here. WotC making the bad decisions. WotC doesn't care. Or WotC coming out. Here's an expensive product of a bunch of reprints. We're going to lower the value in the market. People will love this. People will want that. You know, we know the secondary market exists, so let's push that to run. And then we got the player base bickering, saying, my deck can't compete. I need to get more cards, and cards need to be cheaper so I can upgrade my deck a lot better, you know, a lot faster. Then the part of the disconnect comes from WotC's direct line to the consumer, because WotC has a direct line to us consumers now. And they're not targeting the older players who've been in the game, who keep the game sustaining for the good generic portion. Like, by generic, I mean the average portion of the games, and they're pushing for newer players. So I guess the question is, how do you get new players into the game of Magic the Gathering? And how do you maintain them and keep them in for as long as you can? You know, Wizards of the Coast said they retain players on average for about 4 years a person. Okay, that's 4 years. Now, how do you get them to buy new product? How do you get them invested? Well, it's really hard to get a new player invested in the game of Magic if the community is only talking about the negative parts of Wizards, you know, on what they're doing. Also, there's no collectability for the new player when they begin, because new players think about the collectible card game Magic the Gathering, but they don't really get into the collectability part until they're feel emotionally attached to the game, emotionally attached to the spirit of the game, emotionally attached to the love of the game. What's up, Prime? So, want to get into the collectability is shifting badly because The older player, like us, me, you guys who love the older product, who's played a long time, who has those nostalgic feelings, who want to keep the old cards, and we want the cards to be good. We want the cards we want. We want to remember those thoughts. We want the value in those thoughts. Then we got the new players who don't have that emotional attachment to the game. The stupid sacrifices that we older players did for the game. We're having the nostalgia we had for the game. You know, they don't have that. And you can't invest a new player into being a collectible card game. Well, let me rephrase that. You can't get a new player to invest in a collectible card game and expect to collect when you got to get them accustomed to how to play, different ways to play, get them drawn into the game. And to be honest, I think WotC messed up in one part in the collectability aspect of the game is the player base that we have is the thing that's been keeping WotC alive. Like, I remember, and I know there's been times like this before, and there's been kind of times after. I remember when the original Dark Steel Mirrored and Block came out, and people thought the game was going to end. You know, until they came out with Ravnica. Best set ever. Not really best set, but it's my favorite set. But people thought the game was going to die. But what drew people like me into the game was not Wizard of the Coast. I've seen Magic packs for a long time on the shelves. Didn't even really interest me. Didn't do point of sales. The advertising wasn't there. And the collectability aspect didn't ring a bell. Like, it just didn't make me think I want to collect. It's just a card game. I could be doing other things, right? That's me as a new player. But what got me into the game of Magic is I had a guy who's like, hey, I can help you build a deck. I want you involved in trying to build a community. He basically said, because I was in Job Corps when this happened, and he's like, I want to get players in. I want to teach you how to play Magic, and if you feel good enough, I'll sell you cards for cheap to build your own deck, and we could play games of Magic. And that's what we did. Sorry, that's the coffee pot turning off. And it was the friend aspect that got me into the game of Magic. It got me involved with more people, got me to meet more people. Some of my best friends, especially one of my best friends, comes from the game of Magic Gathering and loving the game and the experiences we had, you know. The experiences changed now. Like, who goes out to the game store anymore? Who goes out to F&M? Who goes out and plays with different people? You know. So, WotC is here trying to get more people in all the time, making product for the newer players. WotC's over here trying to be amazing, you know, by themselves. Oh, hold on. So, WotC's trying to be awesome. WotC's trying to sell new product and advertise new players. They're smart. They use YouTube as a revenue to advertise, and that's one of the things they honed in on when they realized how effective social media was for their brand. But we cannot rely on social media to sell everything for them. Social media has become hard to learn from. And so the collectability has kind of diminished. I mean, what did WotC learn from social media? That we all want reprints? That we all want old cards to be cheaper? I mean, there's a lot of people who bitched and complained about the price of Magic cards all the time. And they would talk about the price market. They talk about how card prices went up while some cards went down. There's people who talk about the value of cards and stability and how much it costs to get into the game. Like, constantly. The best thing about Arena is you don't have to money dump to get into it, but it helps if you have money to dump into it. The structure of Magic has changed from a collectible card game, from what it's supposed to be, what it used to be, to now it feels more like a fad. Good morning, Robert. I didn't expect you to be up. Good morning. So the collectability aspect has been suffering because the new player base. Now, I'm not blaming new players for the collectability diminishing in the game. I'm blaming WotC for changing the targets from older players to newer players. You know, because the older players, like I said, is what makes the collectability worth collecting in the game of Magic. If it wasn't for older players, you've been up for 5 hours. If it wasn't for older players in the game, people who played in the game for a long time, honestly, the collectability Magic would probably be different. The remastered sets, the reprint sets would probably be different if it wasn't for us older players who played the game. Yo, preacher! Welcome. So, getting into like the skinny of it, the focus of Wizards is what kind of changed the collectability of the game. Like the collectability is shifting because the people who want to collect are being pushed out. That's how it feels. And the people who just want to play the game for the first time are trying to be drawn in. And you can't have both happily satisfied. I know this is a weird thing, like a weird gesture. It's weird, but I'm trying to make a clashing thing. Like, you can't have the old player happy and the new player happy, because the new player wants new cards and the old player wants their cards to be collectible, right? What we want is a satisfactory output. And what I'm driving at, like the bend here, the crutch that turns, is that reprint sets are more for the new players who want the older cards for cheaper. And the reprint sets are to help people, the newer players, advance their decks to be playable against the already existing decks. You know, because how fair is it that I have a good deck that I've been building on for years that's pretty strong, solid synergy, and let's say I have a few decks like that, just strong synergy, built for years, cards I collected, and a new player comes in, buys some janky Wizards of the Coast deck that's pretty decent for itself, but against the meta of players who've been around for a while who have better cards or decks, gets stomped on all the time. Like, how fair is that? Now, I'm not rationalizing anything here because there's nothing to rationalize, because better decks that have been around longer are better than newer decks that are new and babies to the game, basically. This is the nature of the game. You know, you can buy into a deck, play in the deck, but, you know, some decks are just going to be naturally better than others just because of how time's treating them, how one cared for the deck, updated the deck, built the deck up as it came on. And I think that's where the collectability of the game is really suffering. Because reprint sets, the way I look at it, reprint sets are not for the older players. No. Reprint sets are for the newer players who want the older cards that they can't afford. You know, it's part of the draw from Wizards to bring in new players, is to get them to see the old cards they could use in their newer decks that are being reprinted, to buy this product to upgrade their decks so they can play against their friends who've had decks for years. Now, that's a bold statement, and I can't fact check that because, you know, Wizards hasn't come out and say it. They haven't come out and said it, I should say. But it's the only thing that makes sense to me. is why reprint sets are huge. Not only do old players like it, except for the overprinting of it, but not only do older players like reprint sets, new players thrive off it to keep up with the game. Because if they can pay $7, $8 for a pack and pull out their $20 card that they've been looking for, with the possibility, then they just saved money and had an experience with the pack. Which is weird, because it seems like, and this is going to be shifting, it seems like people care about collector's packs. It seems like people care about set packs, but no one cares about the draft pack. Is any of them going to become extinct? Or is Wizard going to shift the diorama of the game? And that's the wrong word, diorama, but the paradigm of the game. Are they going to shift the paradigm of the game? Or the sets, the sealed product? Are they going to shift that to reflect it? Because, like, I think sealed packs now, like draft packs, should be treated like set packs where they got special cards but designed for draft. And sold like set packs. Because set packs are not designed for drafts. They're designed for prettiness. Where collectors are not even draftable really at all. They're just there for power. Ooh. All right. I'll let you. Do. Yeah, I know. I'm just gonna send you a link, Prime, just because I didn't think about it, but I know you're probably still recovering. Ooh, I like this comment. Collector and set packs are designed for the guys who want the bigger aspect of gambling. And I will not disagree there. I really like the comment. It's finally crashing. Yeah. So, because collectors and set packs, like, don't be wrong, I like set packs more than I do collector's packs. Collector packs are neat. Collector packs are cool. They're out of my price range to just grab collector packs on the sale. But I like set packs because I think they draw in more of my attention than collector's packs. I like set packs more than draft packs when it comes to opening up for the channel. If you're not playing the game as drafting, set packs are perfect. Collector's packs are just you're right, more of a gamble. So is set packs. But here's a weird question, right? They ran to the store, nice. Here's a weird question, right? Other than the gambling aspect of set packs and collector packs, which are designed not to draft, what are they for other than opening pretties and your gambling aspect? Like opening up pretties and a gambling aspect. What kind of function do they do for the game? Not really anything. Other than I like opening set packs. Oh, hold on. I see you. Hello.
Good morning, Superfast and viewers.
Good morning.
Let's get some coffee.
Yeah, that's right. Man, I was hoping I was doing a good job carrying the stream.
Oh, you're doing great, man. I was watching. I'm like, man, I want to chat too.
Right. Well, because like today, it's kind of funny how I've been for the couple of days. I started these good morning chats, these morning coffees, because I watched something and I'm like, well, people have been talking about this aspect, but why are they doing this? Or the people are talking about this aspect and they're doing the opposite today. So There's this YouTuber, and I'm not going to mention names because we actually all kind of know him. And I don't want to hurt feelings, but there's this YouTuber who's talked bad against Commander Masters.
Uh-huh.
Talked about the price changes. Or not the price changes, but the price differences are going to follow. He's talked to negativity that we all have talked. And today, yesterday, and the day before has opened a bunch of Commander's Masters product. And I'm like, you were talking negative about this. What is your reward?
Yeah.
You know, and like how much of your content's clickbait now that you've proven to me that you want to buy the product you were smacking down on.
Yep.
You know?
That's the hypocrisy that I see also. It's like, man, if you're going to talk bad about it, are you doing it just to lower prices or so that way you can get more or what?
Right. Well, it's like yesterday I watched another YouTuber who I won't mention his name open up Commander Masters collector packs. And he pulled some good cards out there. Guarantee he didn't make value on his packs, except he did pull a Jeweled Lotus. And I'm like, yeah, that was pretty sweet. I think it was a foiled regular Jeweled Lotus. But like he pulled a Jeweled Lotus, but he pulled a couple money cards out of all the packs in his 2 boxes he had. And throughout the entire video, while he's opening up this eye candy, he's talking about how crap cards are and how the prices don't match the packs. And he's talking about it like he's like, this card used to be this much, this card used to be this much, it's dropped here, this card has gone down here. And as he's opening this packs up, I'm like, but dude, most importantly, one, you're going against your own word here, because if I saw a kid eating a piece of cake and as he's eating the cake, he's telling me that it tastes horrible, but he keeps eating the cake, I'm like, you're giving me the wrong message.
Yeah, exactly. You're, and so you were chatting just a bit ago about reprint sets and the view on them and such.
Yeah.
So Wizards did Chronicles, right?
Right.
And that was Richard Garfield's doing. He wanted more players to get the cards, and that was the point of the reprint set, was so people could get the cards.
Oh yeah, and I kind of remember some of the story about that, because they didn't realize how many people would have cards, like the amount of cards in decks.
Yeah,
because like they didn't realize people would have full play sets of cards and decks. Then they realized they did it. Then their player base started growing, and they're going into what you're talking about.
Yep. And then, Wizards did not, you can look back on this too if you want to do some research. Wizards did not do a full reprint set until Modern Masters back in 2013. And since then, we've been seeing the full reprint sets. And, I think in my view, it's a good thing. You get more players. And yeah, it hurts the collectability, but you get more players. And that's the point. Right. Magic is a revolving door. Bob released a video about it a couple years ago. Magic's a revolving door where, players are coming in, they leave, they come back, they leave again, they come back, they leave. And so, it's fine. It's fine.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm not saying Magic is dying.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not saying that's what you're saying. I'm just like, this is what all these YouTubers are saying. They're saying Magic is dying. Magic is dying. No, it's doing good.
looking at Magic the Gathering as a game does not look like it's dying at any means.
Right? I mean, if you look at it financially, last year Wizards sold more than they have ever done before. That doesn't tell me that players are leaving the game. That tells me more people are coming in and spending money on the game.
DJ Longhair says, I laugh at my own hypocrisy. I am too poor to crack Commander Masters. Yeah. So yeah. Preacher says, wrong. We had full reprint set before they're called core sets.
They're not, but those were not 100% reprints though. I mean, like 4th edition and stuff. They limited the card pool on the reprints. So
True. Some core sets, I know I had some new cards in them.
Yeah,
so
like
so
M10.
you're just saying every card in what was it? What was the set you said was a full reprint set?
So Commander Masters was a full reprint set to go back. You know that it was not Commander Master, Modern Masters. You're right. Like 4th edition was full reprint, 5th edition, 6th edition, etc.
Mm.
But though they limited the card pool, so their purpose was, if I remember correctly, Standard would not have more than 1,500 cards in Standard at any given point. Mm-hmm. And so they didn't do reprint sets to that extent. They didn't affect the old market, kind of.
Right. Well.
Yeah. You're right, Preacher. I was incorrect in my statement. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to think 4th edition had old sets at that time, but you know, because the game was still a couple years old when that came out.
Yeah. The game was, I mean, what? It came out in 95, so the game was only 2 years old when 4th edition was printed.
Right. But like the paradigm shifted, especially in the future. Like years later, Preacher, yes, I love being right. So basically, what I'm catching here, and it still supplants my idea, is back then reprint sets were to help to moderate the amount of cards in the Standard pool when people needed it.
Yes,
but nowadays it's not like that, where it's more to appease the newer players. So that's what I think, is to appease the newer players to have the ability to get older cards for cheaper.
Correct. Yeah, like so Modern Masters was made I want to say 2013. I could be wrong. And it was printed because Modern was getting out of hand with its expense at the time. Right. I mean, you're talking Tarmogoyfs were $200 a pop. Liliana of the Veil was what, 150 a pop.
I remember
the Mind Sculptor was banned and was still $200.
That's
so
true.
You know that they did Modern Masters to lower the entry cost into Modern, to try to get people to play Modern more often. And they do these reprint sets like this to lower your cost of entry. Like when they did Modern Horizons 2 Beloved set, they printed the fetch lands, and they got printed into the ground, and they're all sub $20. But that's to eliminate the cost of the mana base, the monetary cost, so people will play more Modern. And we're seeing Commander Masters now that we have this paradigm shift between these old days that people talk about, where the primary format was Standard, right? You can control your costs better and your reprints better when your primary focus is a rotating format. But when your primary focus is an eternal format,
that makes
a single reprint will crash the value of a card.
Not only that, because you're right, a simple reprint can crash a card. But how much? And and what I'm about to say is going to underline what I think is one of the biggest problems with Magic today, in general. Because, like I said before, when Watsy said engage with the product you want to engage with, was kind of a slap to the face of the Commander player. Right. And I say the Commander player because that, like we've discussed before, Commander is the entry-level game. It's the entry-level format. And Commander players who know Commander know every card is legal in every format. So you have to be engaged with at least the spoiler seasons to keep up the game in general.
Exactly.
So that's why I feel I was kind of a slap in the face. Other people took it differently, like, well, Watsy just doesn't want me to buy the product. No, I think it's a slap in the face because they know the Commander players are invested to the shenanigans they're going to do. They're like, if there was a card that like enhanced my enchantment deck like 500%, and I saw that card and wanted it, that's
you're going to buy it.
If I can, yeah. And that's what the slap of the face is. They know it's kind of like the carrot on a string thing. They know if they pull you along, Coach, what's up? And I should probably make that one. Like if they string it along, they know you're gonna follow because you're hungry, for it. And that's the thing. That's the weird thing about it is like lately my brain has been trying to twist things from what's the player side of things. I'm trying to get engaged with the business side of why they're doing things and what makes sense as like a business. And now I can't do that 100%. Like the best of my ability is I can only imagine from a non-business person trying to think of what a business is trying to do to draw me in, draw that new player in. Because like we were discussing yesterday, COVID happened. They got a big explosion in popularity. People bought their stuff. And they're like, well, let's do this. Let's see what we got here. This just happened. We made buku bucks. How do we maintain this? Now, how do we keep the new player in? And how do we draw the attention of new players and keep these new players as long as we can while we're selling to the older market?
Correct. It's a total balancing act, and they went way overboard. I think they projected incorrectly, and we're still feeling. I listened to Kitchen Table TCG. They do a podcast every Thursday, and they release it every Friday. And I listened to it. This one guy on there, George, said the COVID hangover, and I said, that is a perfect description of what's going on. This is COVID hangover. We're still feeling the effects of the good time of COVID, and now we got the bad time hangover effect. I'm like, that perfectly describes in 2 words what's going on right now.
Right.
So, they Wizards overprojected, and that's where we're getting the market bloat. We're getting the Amazon dumps. It's all due to Wizards misreading the fact that COVID was a short-term bonus for them, not something to bet your cow on, basically. No,
you're right. And how do you moderate such success? And I'm going to say success. Like, how do you moderate such success off a weird effect that happened because people had the time to blow money on nothing important?
They were bored and looking for something, and then they had excess money, and it was like, well, here we go.
Right. And so it's like, and the problem with that is Commander grew, and now Commander's not the problem, but Commander grew.
Yep.
I'm trying to do something at the same time.
Yep. And Wizards is trying to over monetize on it. This is just my opinion, my direct opinion. I think they're trying to over monetize on Commander, and they should be shifting their focus in other directions. And
right.
Leave after Commander Masters, after Wilds of Eldraine. Let's try to focus on Standard. Let's try to focus on Pioneer. Try to focus on Modern, and draw it away from the Eternal format, the true Eternal formats like Commander and Legacy. Don't touch the Eternal formats. Leave them alone.
Right.
And then we'll see, this shift that I think is coming. We're going to see them start shifting that focus and start shifting that goal and balancing, the three, change the format focus, at least to Pioneer. I mean, Standard is basically dead. They killed it with Arena. Why go buy a Standard deck when you can build one on Arena? So, and you can do it for free. It's difficult, but you win enough games, you can get enough wild cards and do it for free. So you can be top tier on Arena and play Standard.
Mm-hmm.
So they should focus, in my opinion, on Pioneer, on Modern, affect those formats, leave Commander alone, because if you continue touching Commander, you're touching the older cards.
Right.
And the more you reprint the older cards, the more the older players get pissed.
Well, you're right. It's abusing the hand of Midas there.
Yes.
Because gold is valuable, but when everything's gold, nothing's valuable.
Exactly.
So I completely understand that. And the nice thing about Commander, and I think this is the draw to why it became so big, is Commander, with not being a tournament legal thing, like a real tournament legal thing, is that, kitchen table style is the way people like to play. It's more comfortable, it's more casual. Who cares if you make a mistake? If you correct it, people will help you correct it. Where in a tournament setting, where my wife learned to hate Magic, and it's her favorite format is Standard or 60 card constructed. She hates the player base and tournament base, but she loves Commander for the casualness. But she hates Commander for she hates the singleton format, but she loves the feel of the game,
right?
The kitchen tableness. And so I think that's what a lot of people picked up, was the casual feel of the game, the playability, the
casual nature,
Right, the casual nature. But I'm trying to think of like a different way to word it. How when you start work, you have to go through orientation to learn kind of what you're doing with the job, and then kind of get accustomed to the job.
Mm-hmm.
That same feeling you get, that excitement before work, actually having to work, of learning the job, to learn what's going to make you your valuableness to the company. I think that's what the Commander format kind of brings. It's like that feeling of being in orientation, where you're learning to be better at what you're going to do, and it helps you bring the value of the game into you slowly but steadily to make you feel proud of it.
Right. Yeah. I agree. And building a successful Commander deck that's both fun and engaging for you and your play group, because it's a totally social format. It's not like Standard, Pioneer, Modern, any of the 60 card formats where you're actively just trying to beat your opponent into the ground as quick as possible. Commander, it's totally social. So if you build a deck that is not just fun for you to play, but fun for your play group to play against, that's a crowning pinnacle in my book. That's like you've beat Commander. You're awesome at that point. Right.
That's kind of like the goal, I think, in general people have. But I know some people are different. I had a friend who stepped out of Magic because his real life responsibilities of work got in the way, so he stepped out of Magic for that. But when he first started playing Magic, his first questions were, what cards will piss people off the most, and what cards will win me the game?
Yeah, some people like to see the world burn.
Right. So his first deck he built was a kind of a modern deck. It was tabletop modern, basically. So I built him the most annoying deck I could build on a budget, and that was Turbo Fog Mill.
Oh my god. That is the most annoying deck ever. People can say land destruction is bad, but there's nothing as bad as being milled out while you can't do crap.
Right? Counter spells, fogs, draw effects, everything to make your opponent's combat wasted.
Yes. Yes, that is just, oh man. You did right. You said, hey, here. He said, give me the most annoying deck ever, and you said, hold my beer.
Right, exactly. I mean, land destruction, people quit. will quit before the game's over. But some people like torture enough that they will stay through a turbo fog deck for most.
Yeah, they're like, man, if I just draw that one card, all I need is that one card, and then they draw it. They try to cast it. Nope, countered. Ah, shit.
I remember back in the Innistrad days, I had a turbo fog deck, and the only person who beat my deck is someone who put in a Newell, which is a card that counter target instant spell, just so you can counter my so he can counter my fog to win. The only person who beat me in that whole tournament.
Man, super fast. I knew you were degenerate. I didn't know you were that bad, sir.
Yeah. Let's see. Commander is like a job you love, and you have to pay to work. Yep.
That's how it is. I mean, that's how it is nowadays. Yeah, it's that's my true, honest opinion. Is they need to leave it alone. They need to stop with the Commander products with every standard release, and now they're going to do it with every reprint release because these decks probably sold really well. Let's just face it. So they're probably going to do it with every reprint set. They're probably going to continue doing it until they stop making money on it. Frankly.
Yeah, you gotta milk the cow for what it's worth.
Uh-huh.
And when the cow is all dehydrated and skinny and about dead, then that's when you realize it wasn't a girl cow at all.
Yeah, that wasn't a girl cow. Those weren't udders. Those were other parts.
But still,
your cow has one udder. What? Something's wrong with it, bro.
There was a commercial back in the day. I think it was banned because it was probably something racist. But it hit TV, and I remember this as a kid. But there was like an Indian monk dressed kind of person, and he had a bullet. And this was a cereal commercial for like Frosted Flakes or something like that. And this guy went up to a cow, trying to reach for the udder to milk a cow for milk for his cereal.
I remember this.
Right? And then as this guy's doing this, you see this two couple in the house looking out, and this wife or girlfriend looks at this dude and says, "Are you going to tell him that's a boy cow?"
Yeah. Yes. I remember that commercial. That commercial was awesome. Oh my gosh.
I still remember that to this day, and that's what makes me think of Wizards. They're trying to milk the wrong cow at the moment.
Yep. And that's my honest opinion. They just need to leave. I don't mind reprint sets. I really don't. I think they're great. They improve the strength of the game, but leave Commander alone. Just don't touch it.
I think I could be wrong, but I think they're working on giving Commander a little relaxation for a bit.
Yeah.
Are you going to hop on Prime, or are you just chilling now? Are you back from the store? So, because with the new changes coming up, which I'm excited about one change, confused about another change, and not fully rotoscoped on the entire change, but one Planeswalker for set I'm confused about, but whatever. Less legendaries in Magic sets, amazing.
Yes.
I love the fact that opens up, because I was having a conversation with our friend James about this last night. I'm like, less legendaries mean you can have more 4-ofs on the battlefield if you pull them.
Exactly.
And I'm like, that sounds better for draft.
Yep. Draft, it sounds better for standard, for any constructed play outside of Commander.
Right. So I don't know if the whole goal is to step away from Commander for a bit, but my question is what's it going to do for collectability? Like, and I know it seems weird, but like I'm not in the realm of collecting everything myself. I collect the cards I want to play with. That's as much as it gets to. If I want to play with it, I'll collect it. If it's something that's worth money and I have no need for it, I'll trade it.
Yeah.
And one thing I think is weird, and I know you've been a part of, not legitimately a part of it, but I know you've been part of people doing it on their own live, or you've seen other people do it. And then we know 2 people who do it, and I know a handful of people who do it. Is instead of collecting cards now, people are just slinging packs of Magic together. Right? Now, that's not a problem. So I'm not putting slinging packs as a problem. But, you know, what I'm noticing is more people are trying to flip the product than they are to collect the product.
Correct.
And what that shows me as an observer is collecting game is not as valuable as slinging the game.
Yeah, so here's where I think where I know we're at. I can say 100% certainty. We are in the Pokemon era of Magic the Gathering. It's the variants that are the collectible. It's the hyper rare pulls like textured jeweled lotus, like serialized soul rings. Like that is where the collectability has shifted. Wizards has altered the game with Mark Rosewater's Booster Fun idea. They took his Booster Fun idea and said, great, we can get more cards out to more people by providing 3 different products, 4 if you count the Jumpstart per set, or what used to be the theme packs per set product. We can get more cards out to more people. We can sell more product because you can target it by which way you want to go. You know, if you want to go the cheaper end route, you'll still pull the good cards. You'll still pull Sheoldred from a Dominaria United draft pack. Matter of fact, my only Sheoldred I pulled was from a Dominaria United draft. I didn't pull any out of my sets or collector boxes. Just really unlucky. But so you can still pull Shelly out of Dominaria draft packs. Are you going to get the best Shelly? No, the best Shelly is found in the collector packs. So then you gamble on the collector pack to buy it. So it's more monetarily stable. A better, I guess, what's the way to put it? If you're going to try to make money off of Magic, it's better to let someone else gamble than gamble for yourself.
Right.
So you buy the boxes, you sling the packs, and let them gamble on it. You making your money, so it doesn't affect you. You've bought into the secondary market. You're making your cash,
right? And
they get to gamble and see if they pull, whatever they're going to pull. And that's really the alteration point in the game is when they first did the collector boosters. What was that? Ikoria, Theros.
The first was Theros and was Eldraine.
Yeah. So that was when it started, and then the first set boxes, when those came out, they took the collector product and basically cut it in half. You get less draft chaff, and you get a chance at more rares from the set, and you get a chance at some of the better treatments, but not all of the better treatments. You want the best treatment, you have to do collector packs.
Right.
And so that's really where they've altered the collectability of the game is, instead of just a single card being collectible, it's a single variant of a single card being the collectible pinnacle.
And you know what? I don't think Wizards was ready for the popularity of collector's packs to sell as well as they did.
Yeah, no, they were not. I agree.
But now it's like the only thing I see people pulling.
Yeah, that's the majority of it. I mean, if you're gonna gamble, go big. You can go to the penny slots and you might win $5, but
I'm pretty
really want to gamble. You sit down at the $100 hand blackjack table or $1,000 hand blackjack table, and you can make a crap ton more money. You can lose a crap ton more money.
That's true. But see, I'm more simple. I prefer the set packs just because the bling in there is pretty well for me, and it's cheaper.
Yeah, I agree. The set packs are phenomenal. I personally don't care much about the art cards. I think Wizards really needs to up their ante with it. but I don't think they're going to do that in set packs. Like Joey Moss is always saying, you know, add in actual artist signatures. They're not going to put that in a set pack. That's going to be in a collector pack. That's a primo piece of collectability.
You're actually talking about a card with the real signature on it.
Yep, exactly.
Oh. Yeah,
like
you know.
Joey's always saying put that in set packs. So why would you put it in a set pack? Put it in a collector pack where people are going to gamble more to get that primo memorabilia. Don't put it in a set pack.
All right, hold on a second. I've been wanting to say hi to MTG Hillbilly, and I hope your hospital.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I hope you're doing all right. I hope things are going well. I'm assuming the surgery hasn't happened yet. Then I want to say, bro.
Brett.
The prices on collectors. Yep. Say hi, Justin Shiv. I saw the MMB. Where'd it go? Right here. I think it's. Yeah. And I don't know what the ellipsis points are for, but hello. Hi, you.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Mrs. Hillbilly loves the art cards. My wife loves the art cards too. Like, she really does. But. Yeah. But like,
oh, go ahead.
There's the one, like my only analysis on like what I would like to personally see in Magic, especially if you're going to pay the premiums of set collectors and collector boosters. Well, collector boosters are already expensive, so you're getting whatever you're asking for there. But in set boosters, I wish they would do the same kind of idea with set boosters. But instead of just putting in fancy looking cards just to have a pack, I think they should customize the draft pack the same way they do a draft pack, but instill the special art cards in the draft pack so you can get the drafting experience while getting the bling randomly spread through the packs.
Yeah, I think that, excuse me, I think they should, but do it at a higher rarity. Like you get it more commonly in collector packs and more rare in draft. You know, like you in like for example, look at Commander Masters, you have the foil etched cards. Those only come in the collector packs. That's it. And the textured cards, that only comes in the collector packs. And the full art commander cards only in the collector packs.
Right. And you know what's ridiculous is the prices on a lot of those etched cards are pretty darn cheap.
They are. Yep.
Like my Arcalis Lagoon Mystic was only 69 cents foil etched when I bought him.
Yep. Yep. Your Turtle Shaman.
Yeah. Yep. You know, I'm working on that deck still, but still an amazing card just because it's a turtle. But for being a collector specific pack thing, pretty cheap.
Well, so Arcalos, that was what, Commander Legends?
Yeah,
I want to say. So you could get the foil etched in the draft boxes in that set specifically. So you could get a foil etched commander card in the draft boxes, and that's why the foil etched from that set isn't holding up as well as like if you look at do a price comparison for like Double Masters 22. Right. Where the foil etched was only in the collector packs, if memory serves. And in Commander Masters is definitely only in collector packs. There, you'll see there's a big differentiation, but that's because they were available in the draft product as well. And you got on average, one foil etched commander per box. I think it was in 0.75 boxes, so one per 3/4 of a box or so. I actually opened up a box that was a misprint box. I ended up with 5 etched foil commander cards. Most of them were uncommon, but I did end up with a mythic one and a rare one as well. And yeah, so and a lot of duplication.
No, duplication's a real thing. Let's see. DJ says, I need a picture of me already. Sad face. I need to sign up Monday for the content creator badge. I want to be the one to drop goodies on people at MagicCon. So in short, you want to have the responsibility to hand people stuff so you can chill for your own channel.
Yeah.
Okay, get you.
And actually, DJ, talking about Commander Masters prices, so TCG player prices on Commander Masters singles were hyper low until Friday.
Mm-hmm.
The stores there was actually a store selling briberies for $1.32 a copy.
Briberies?
Yeah, bribery, where you can search your opponent's deck for a creature,
I know.
steal it.
I wish I knew about that.
Yeah, they sold out in minutes, and they honored their sellout. Everything got shipped yesterday. So the prices are crashed, but they are, in some cases, they're starting to recover. Like I'm a member of a couple of financing channels, and they're seeing prices start to shift already, as we see what cards are more rare and more difficult to pull.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, a bribery for $1 something is a hell of a deal.
Right. Bribery is like insanely good deal.
That is insane. I wonder how much it is now. Let me go check.
I think they're back up to like $7 or $10 or something like that. $5 to $7.
What website was this?
TCG Player. That was because TCG Player, before Friday, before release day, only stores could sell singles. So the masses were able to start selling singles. The non-WPN stores and non-actual LG locations could start selling on TCG Player as of release day, as of Friday. So everything before then was pre-sale.
That is beautiful for my ears. You can get bribery as low as $6.
Yep. And yeah, as of last Wednesday, or Thursday, it was $1.32 on TCG Player. You could find it for $1.32. And the stores are honoring that. It wasn't mislabeled.
Wow.
So it's like, not sure if there was, and it wasn't just bribery. We were seeing Cyclonic Rifts and, many other staples, not the Commander free spells, but many of the other, powerful staple cards. Commandeer, I think, was at like $3.
Commandeer wasn't even reprinted in the set.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, it's in the set.
Must have been dropped or something, because I don't remember seeing that. Like rarity or something.
Yeah, it's in rare. Commandeer's in rare, and it's also on. Funny enough, these departments need to talk to each other, because it's also on the freaking list. It's on the list and in the main set. So technically speaking, you could open up a set booster pack and get 2 Commandeers.
Wow, it's like one time when Planar Chaos was a thing. And they were talking about how you can get chaotic packs, like you can get multiple rares in a pack.
Yeah,
and they said something about it. I pulled 3 Damnations in a pack and was just stoked about it.
Yep. I remember those days. That was back when Damnation was what, $40-$50 on release.
Right.
Now it's, frankly, with all the reprints, even it's still holding on good at like around $20. So. That's not bad for a single board wipe.
No, it wasn't. I was just excited because I really liked Damnation when I.
Oh yeah.
My mother told me my dog won't eat or drink. I'm so sorry, Hillbilly. Maybe he's just missing you really badly. But yeah, so. And it's kind of interesting to go back to Planar Chaos. Because I was just thinking about Planar Chaos was the first time they did a list kind of thing.
Yep.
And it was a very popular thing that people liked the time shifted cards back then. That they're doing it. They started doing it again with this list. And now, as much as fun as the list is, and there's crap cards on the list, and there's good cards on the list, but we're at the point where you can't have your cake and enjoy it anymore because people are getting salty about the icing on the cake. They're like, there's too much goodness here that it's going to drop the value.
Yeah, and I think so. The best list slot that we've ever seen was Streets of New Capenna, hands down. It was
Right.
all rares, all mythics. There's no chaff in there. I mean, there were chaff rares and mythics, but there was some really good hits too.
Oh yeah.
Like Divining Top was there, and Mikaeus the Unhallowed, and stuff like that. And I think that there was probably a lot of backlash from the collector perspective, from the collector investor perspective. You're dropping the value of my rares and mythics, and that's probably why we're not seeing that good of a list slot anymore, where it's all rares and mythics. Wizards is probably like, you know what? People didn't like that. Some people didn't like that. And, I can see their perspective, but also I want to pull a Mikaeus the Unhallowed from the list.
Oh yeah. Is that the black one or the white one?
That's the black one.
Yeah, the black one's pretty sauce.
Yeah, he's infinite combo guy. Like,
Yeah.
I want him.
Because he has persist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what makes him good. That's part of the infinite combo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Him and any, is it persist or undying creature? I can't remember, but him and any
Well, it's
one of
Undying.
those.
Undying was from that set, not persist. Persist from. Oh my lord.
Yeah, it was him and any one of those creatures. It, like, when it dies and it comes back with a -1/-1 counter, he makes, when a creature you control dies, it comes back. If it didn't have a +1/+1 counter, it comes back with a +1/+1 counter. So it dies, comes back with a -1/-1 counter, gets a +1/+1 counter, and
Right.
those two cancel each other out. They're wiped off of the creature, and then you can sacrifice the creature again for more value. Just infinite combo with, or infinite mana with Phyrexian Altar or Athnod's Altar. So,
No,
yeah, I wanted to pull him off the list. That would have been awesome. I didn't, but I wanted to.
Oh yeah, it's like I'm hoping to pull a. There you go. It's like I'm hoping to pull a. I'm hoping to pull a doubling season for my little commander pack.
Hell yeah! I hope you get one.
Yeah.
I really, really hope you get one.
Yeah, I do too. It's Undying. He has Mikaeus.
Mikaeus, yeah. So if you have I think it's the ability is called Persist, a creature with Persist. I want to say it was from the Lorwyn block.
I think it was for Lauren Block. Persist.
Yeah,
That's
like
the one
Kitchen Finks.
because it's the one that comes. That's the ability that comes into play with the -1/-1 counter.
Yep.
And then Dying is the one where they come into play with a +1/+1 counter, and those two
Yeah.
negate each other.
Yep. So like with Kitchen Finks, if you have a way to sack it and you have it and Mikaeus on board, that's infinite life gain. You just keep sacking, gain 2 life every time.
Well, there's another green that says counters can be put on creatures that people have used for that kind of ability.
Yep. And there's a white card, Solemnity, that does the same thing. So
pretty sauce.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Adam? Ooh.
A whole palette with magic was stolen at Gen Con. I'm not surprised.
I need Jund medallions and Deadly Rock for and deflecting swap. Yep. Cards. Well, so the ironic thing, before I knew the full set list for this enchantment deck that came out with Commander Masters, is I went a route to turn my Bat enchantment deck into a major token theme deck and take out the Voltron theme. Then I find out this Abzan deck is doing the exact same thing. It's just it doesn't have blue. I'm like, really? Why can't I be original?
Wizards was spying on you.
Right?
Little did you know that each one of their cards has a bug implanted in it, and they're listening to your every thought.
That's probably too. DJ says yes, a whole palette, and Coach is like, yeah, $300K worth of product.
God,
how does one just walk out with a palette?
Oh, well,
Minute?
it takes some how we say down here in the Southwest, takes some huevos to do it. But you could if you had a correct uniform, you could walk up and say, "Hey, I gotta move this," and just do it.
Right.
And people are just like, "Oh, okay, he's just another worker, no problem."
No problem. No problem whatsoever.
And then straight Ocean's 11 happening over there, man. Tell you what, from Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, I can see a movie coming out called Magic's 12.
Magic's 12.
That'd
The attempt on Rudy's vault. Trying to steal them tacos.
Or just in flavor, it takes 30 people, so the movie's going to be called Magic 30.
Magic 30. Damn. Magic 30. 30 random nerds from a game shop get together and steal from Gen Con.
Right? Yeah, and there's going to be movies about people stealing like printing presses from Wizards of the Coast so they can print money on Magic cards.
God. Oh, man, that would be awesome. I would watch that movie, not gonna lie. Not gonna lie, I'd watch it just to see what they do with it. I feel it'd be a big Harold and Kumar thing, but I'd like it.
Right, like, you know, all the heist movies you've seen where people are selling buku bucks, they're just breaking into game stores in these movies and stealing all their cards.
Dun, 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 dun.
like Fast and the Furious, the LGS.
Fast and the Furious at the LGS.
Right.
We're gonna have Dom just drive right through the front door of the shop.
Right. Puts chains around the glass cases, drags them out by the car.
Yes.
Somehow the glass doesn't shatter, so the cards are still intact, but you see the whole thing like shifting all the road, banging into things.
But the cards don't move.
No.
That'd be the best part. They can't move.
Right? Oh man. Then you're gonna have like a movie where there's like a secret vault of magic cards on the moon, like the most expensive cards, like the 101 ring owned by Post Malone. And it's gonna have like some T-Rex riding guy guarding the vault, a whole army trying to break into the vault. Going out here.
Oh my god. Man, I want to buy the rights of that movie already. People versus Hasbro.
Oh man, watch! That's going to be a movie in the future, and it's going to be based off a true story, and it's going to be based off some conspiracy that became real. That started out as like people talked about it, like, you know, what if this happened? What if that was the thing that happened? What if that's how they're really doing it? And to find out, there's really kid laborers in Hasbro who's making the product. They got kids. Well, they're not. It's not kid labor. What they do is they have kids hooked up to a machine like the Matrix, and it just goes in the brain, and just uses them as batteries, and they pump them full of psychedelics, so they come up with some random ideas, like transforming cards that like not only just flip around, you can fold them in half. And these kids thought about it.
Man, I would watch that. You see Gavin Verhey walk up and take off his left hand, and it's like some sort of port access tool, so you can go plug into the computer and download all their ideas, like an R2D2 port.
You seen Grandma's Boy, right?
No.
Oh, you should watch it. But there was this guy who's very nerdy, and he acts like he's from the Matrix. That's how I imagine Gavin Verhey would be in a movie.
Right. Dude, he already acts like he's in the Matrix, so you see him and he's always happy.
Right. Well,
like, dude, how much antidepressants do you take? Do you just snort lines of that stuff?
Lines. He's like, dude, there's piles.
There's piles of it.
Just piles.
You walk into his room and he's got just, syringes everywhere. Man, what kind of drugs are you on? Antidepressants, man.
He's like, it's nothing but serotonin, dude.
Nothing but serotonin. We're good, man.
DJ just posted the article about the thing on Discord. The Sealed Collectors Facebook group I got the article from was more concerned if it was
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Lorcana. And at the, I mean, I don't want to comment on the collectability of Lorcana, but let me just say, if you're buying booster boxes of Lorcana at $250, $300 a piece, and you think Disney is not going to continue printing this product, man, yeah.
Well, there's so much hype around Lorcana right now because the new thing.
Yep.
Plus, the big name, as Bob mentioned before, they have all the assets to make good franchises in the game.
The ceiling is super high. The floor is beyond low. So,
right now they're still in the baby phases, so they haven't yet proven that they can fail. They haven't gotten to the point where they can fail. They're right now they're just going up.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, the stores haven't even gotten the product yet. I don't think they're going to get it for another couple of weeks, but yeah.
Yep.
I wouldn't worry about 300K of Lorcana being stolen.
No. plus, I seen Sorcery do the same thing where people are opening up more than Magic on some of their channels.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know how well Sorcery is going to do. Like, I know for sure, since some of the cards have lewd art on them, it's probably not going to last as long, only for the fact that some people won't allow that kind of stuff in their stores.
Yep. And so historically, I've been, Magic was the first commercially successful TCG.
Right.
And it is the trendsetter, or it was the trendsetter. And so I've been around to see the thousands of TCGs come and go and fall. And really only 3 have stayed: Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon.
Right.
That's pretty much it. Those are the only 3 that have stayed popular and still making money on the primary market. Now, Magic had a competitor. It was called Rage, which I was also a huge fan of. It was a Werewolf the Apocalypse trading card game.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not sure if you're familiar. Werewolf the Apocalypse was a role-playing game in the 90s where you played as a werewolf. And so they made a whole trading card game around it. And they were neck and neck with Magic and Pokemon for sales for a long time. The problem was that they took collectability too far and ended up falling because they said, we will never reprint any cards outside of the base set. The cards outside of the base set were the most powerful cards. So the expansion products had the most powerful cards. So when you went to a tournament, like there was one card called Mantle of El Dorado.
Yeah.
And when it came out, when you played it from your hand, it didn't do anything the first turn. Every turn after that was basically an Ancestral Recall. You drew 3 extra cards.
Wow, Ancestral Recalls.
Yeah, for free every turn. And there can only be one of them. There's a rule on the card printed on there. There can only be one on the field at any point. That's between you and your opponent. So if you have it and you can hold on to it, you're drowning your opponent in card advantage. That particular card went up over $500 a copy because it came out in one expansion product.
And since they weren't going to reprint it.
The newer players couldn't get it, so the newer players couldn't play in tournaments, so the game died. Nobody bought the product.
Makes sense.
So that's where collectability ended up killing a game. And so my point is, I see these flash in the pans all the time. Anytime Magic stumbles and makes a mistake, somebody comes up and it becomes the new hype thing for a little while. And, Magic will do fine. It'll survive. Not saying Sorcery's bad. Not saying Lorcana's bad. They have a chance. But they could make a mistake like, who was it? Was it Cryptic or MetaZoo? I think both of them made big mistakes recently. They could make a big mistake and end up costing themselves the whole farm. So we just got to see where it goes, basically.
Yeah, but I think Magic's reaching the area above popularity. That's going to be hard for them to fall.
Yeah.
because there's a collapse. There's got to be a point of collapse if they reach it, but they have enough stuff sustaining them right now. That's just basic. That's keeping them afloat. And I don't think, and I can't be right all the time, but I don't think Wizards are going to be stupid enough to make a move like we're going to do something that's going to hinder the collectability of the entire game, like you were saying Werewolf did.
Yeah,
but it's interesting that you brought up that Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh are also on this list of card games that lasted a while, because I see how the longevity of their games have become in different ways, because like Pokemon gets more collectors involved in the rare cards than they do actually have players. And the more people who are into Yu-Gi-Oh are the saltiest players I ever met in general when it comes to deck building, and don't collect the game for money.
Correct.
It's interesting.
Correct.
Dilemma.
They're both opposite ends of the spectrum.
Right,
and it's really awesome.
Right, Magic's in the middle. That's what people care about: the collectability and the playability.
Yeah. And I've lived through all of Magic's blunders. From Chronicles as being first off, short print running Arabian Nights. That was a big blunder. People wanted the product, couldn't get it. Secondly, the next one was splitting a set in half, where half of the uncommons could only be found on the East Coast and half only on the West Coast. That was Legends. They made that mistake. They did Chronicles. Then people were crying for more product, saying, hey, we want more. And they were sending in these allocation orders to Wizards of like, I need 5,000 boxes. I need 6,000 boxes. And so Fallen Empires, Wizards said, F you, we're going to open allocation wide up. You want it? We're sending however much you want. Fallen Empires, one of the most hated sets of all time, because there's no collectability in it, because they literally gave the stores free allocation wide open. They didn't limit allocation whatsoever. Homelands was the same way. And then, Wizards corrected, and we went into this kind of cool little lull where we were in Tempest and Stronghold, Ice Age, and then we get to Exodus, and then one of the biggest complaints was, how do I tell a rare from a non-rare? Well, they came up with the color coordination.
Right, I remember that story, because
that was actually a stolen idea, if you want to break it down.
Well, I remember, because they were going to start changing the colors of backs too.
Yep. And then, but that was stolen from Pokemon, because Pokemon had the rarity symbol down on the bottom left of the card: star for rare, diamond for uncommon, circle for common.
Well, I never knew that.
Yep. So that was stolen from Pokemon. Then we come into the foils era, where people literally, I remember people quitting en masse because of foils being brought into Magic. Like, they were like, I don't want these shiny ass cards. This isn't Pokemon, because Pokemon did it first and Wizards followed behind and did the foils. So I remember people quitting en masse then. I remember people quitting en masse over Ice Age and how bland the set was. The rarity symbols. I remember people quitting en masse because of Urza Saga and the sudden boost in power level. Like, you look at Exodus and then you go to Urza Saga and it's like, holy crap.
Yeah, and not even a full 2 years later, we get Mirrodin.
Yeah. And then we get freaking Mirrodin, and it's like, holy shit, what the hell are they just blew power creep out of the water, exploded it, and it was a massive explosion in popularity with little Timmies like me and little Johnnies. But for other players, they were like, man, now I have to buy all these new cards, I can't play my old ones, and blah blah blah, and they got pissed and they left. People left for that.
I remember that, because that's about the time I came into the game, was during that time.
Yeah.
Really quick, I want to say hi to Time Capsule, and good night, DJ.
Night, DJ.
All right. So yeah, you're right. Because I got in right. Because when I got into Magic, which was right when Mirrodin was like the main set, and Kamigawa was coming out, and people were talking about how people are leaving the game because of like infinite combos or broken powers and all this jank. And then Ravnica came out, and that totally changed the way people thought. Because Ravnica came out, and people were like, this is a way better set. This is a better direction. Let's go this way. We like the multicolored set.
Yep.
You know,
Then,
like how many times have we lived through that?
where the game is dying.
I remember when the game was going to die when the stack was changing.
Yeah, I remember when the game was going to die because legendary rule changed.
Right.
I remember the game was going to die because there were shinies in the packs, and you know, no matter.
I remember the game was going to die because it got rid of mana burn.
Yeah, I wasn't around then because I had quit before then, but man, I miss mana burn. Not gonna lie. I miss mana burn. That was when you had to be really strategic with your turns. And combat tricks. When they changed the stack with combat tricks, like, come on, that man, I was kind of a little ticked off because I loved being able to, you know, tap a creature and do a point of damage to you mid-combat and then grow my creature and sack it and still do damage to you.
Right.
Remember how badass Sakura Tridelder was? When you could block and then sacrifice him and still kill the X1 creature?
Was it that little 1-drop 1/1 goblin that dealt damage when it died? Like you sacrifice him to deal damage, and he's a
Mog Fanatic.
Mog Fanatic, yeah. And he's basically, and people treat him as like a 2/2 creature because it costs 1 mana. He's a 1/1. You block, then you sacrifice him, deal 1 damage. That's 2 points of damage to a 2/1 creature or a 1/2 creature.
Exactly. You know? Or someone's attacking with 2 1/1s, and you block one of them with him. Damage goes on the stack. Sacrifice him. Kill the unblocked 1/1, and both your opponent's attacking creatures die. That was combat tricks.
Right.
Real
that was
combat tricks.
That was the way to play back then. I remember Mog Fanatic used to be the most powerful common in the day. Or maybe it was not common, but yeah.
No, he was a common. Yeah. Him and Raging Goblin, 2 badass brothers that just tore shit up.
Oh yeah. I remember playing the Rakdos deck with those cards in them because those 1-drops are insane. I mean, but this is also at the same time that a 1 mana 1/1 with haste was pretty powerful. That
Raging Goblin was like I can't tell you the number of tournaments I won because of Raging Goblin and Goblin Grenade.
Right.
And Fire Blast. Oh man. Give me a free 4 damage spell. All I got to do is sack 2 lands. Hell yeah, you dead. Doesn't matter if my lands are in the graveyard. You still dead.
Oh yeah, because you know the damage didn't have to fully resolve. You know, the combat didn't have to fully resolve for damage to go through. And that's what.
Hold on a second. Sorry.
Woo-hoo. Sorry, I was looking at a message while he's doing that because we got a message. Pause Brown talking about a new song I haven't even heard of. That was the message. Listen to good music. I hope you guys are enjoying this weird topic of funness.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
You're good. I was just telling people I hope they're enjoying the topic and the funness.
Oh yeah. I hope so too, because that's why I wanted to start, chatting openly, because, when talking through text, there's a lot of information about Magic the Gathering that people now don't know or don't remember or are glossing over. Like, this game was supposed to have died 500 times.
Right.
And just because we're on 501 doesn't mean the game's going to die.
Right.
I do not believe that. I think Magic will be around at least another 10 years. Yeah, and then even after that, there's still going to be a secondary market, even though there's no primary market.
Right.
Because you have 30 years of collectibles.
Right. Well, on top of that, like how you mentioned that we're like the Pokemon stage. Look at Pokemon. No one really play like there's people who play the game, but there's not the player base is not as big as the collector base, and it's still going on.
Yeah.
And I think Wizards can get there. I mean, if collector packs are the only way to go, and the only product to buy, people are going to buy it because hey, there's cards in there that would look pretty and are worth something's worth money. Because they're always going to break the format, and that's what I'm afraid of. Like when it comes to longevity here, is when they start making cards just to break the game.
Yeah.
I don't think WotC would do that. So I'm not WotC, so I don't know that. And when they make a 1 mana destroy a target creature and your opponent loses 3 life, that's going to be a broken card in the game. I mean,
yes, as long as they don't, they can't do it off balance, and that's the teeter effect. So
right.
If they make a card like that, then they equally have to make other spells and creatures just as powerful to teeter the power creep.
Right. And then, like, for those people who don't understand how the power creep is working, is the power of cards is getting more powerful based on the mana cost of the card. So if the card is like cheap and does powerful stuff, and there's more of them, the more that kind of card, more that kind of creep, where the card's cheap, mana value, and the powerful effect is powerful, that's where the creep is coming in.
Yep.
I mean,
like a 5 mana spell, like you said, if it was 5 mana, destroy target creature, its controller loses 3 life.
Yeah.
That's not a good spell. That's garbage. But 1 mana, that's broken.
Right. But I kind of took the idea off Vendetta and switched it around. Because Vendetta destroys target creature and you lose life equal to the creature's power.
Yep.
But like if it costs 1 white or black, destroy target creature, which seems fair nowadays, which is sad. Like seems kind of fair. Destroys target creature. Then the unfair part is your opponent loses 3 life. Holy cow! That'd be a mythic, but like that's the fear that something like that can happen. Because look, Path to Exile was a powerful card, and now it's not looked at as super powerful as it used to be.
Yeah, it's still. I mean, it's still a EDH staple. Like if you're playing white, you pretty much have a Path in your deck,
right?
Or or a Swords, and yeah, but it's not $5-10 value like it used to be, for sure.
Well, that's partially due to reprints, but also at the same time, the power level of cards. I mean, there's a reason why they stopped making a lot of cards with hexproof.
Yeah, because Boggles piss people off.
I never played with Boggles, but I love that card.
Boggles is great if you like having big Voltron creatures and you don't want your opponent to interact.
That's exactly my Rafik deck.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like. I try to make my creatures hard to interact with, and I like to make Voltron creatures with Rafik. Mm-hmm. I mean, come on, Rafik is life. He's a 4 mana commander that gives a creature double strike, and if you can get a creature up to 10 power by turn 4. Then cast Rafik and swing him for 21 commander damage.
Yes. Yes. If you can get Rafik out, put Colossification on him. Oh yeah, let's end this.
Or even better, Infect.
Right. Infect. Oh my god, banned Infect. I never thought I'd see the day, but here we are.
Oh, no one thought Venerated Rot Priest would be good in a Rafik deck. All I do is target people with auras, give them poison counters, and swing them for poison damage.
Yeah, exactly. It's like nobody suspected this, and and see, back in the day, if you recall, creatures were relatively weak, but the spells were the powerful. That was the powerful end. That was where it was broken. Right,
because creatures used to be weak because they wanted the spells to be the powerful part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But they kind of switched them around for a bit. Now they meet in the middle.
Yep.
That's the powerful thing. Like, I mean, that Wrath of God effects are huge, but 4 mana is like the steepest you can go. But now we have 3 mana wrath effects, which is insane, with stipulations on them, of course. But still, you have 3 mana wrath effects, like the one that 3 mana destroys all creatures power 4 or greater. That's powerful.
Powerful, potent cards, and like Toxic Deluge. There's your 3 mana board wipe that can also get rid of indestructible creatures. Yeah, you have to pay life for it, but okay.
Right.
I pay life and get rid of your Darksteel or Blightsteel Colossus.
Right. Or I pay 1 white to exile your Darksteel Colossus.
Yeah. Target, here, get rid of it. Path. Done.
I remember back in the day when Darksteel Colossus was a Tinker effect or Tinker combo effect. Turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. Big old Colossus win the game.
And then they printed Path to Exile and it was like, damn it.
Well, Swords of Plowshare was legal back then, but I don't think people were playing it because it was obscure.
Yeah, well, it wasn't.
Condemn. He had Condemn in that time too from Ravnica.
Yeah, and Swords was more, legacy, and not really like I would do the Tinker Darksteel in pre-modern tournaments,
right?
Like what would be considered extended, I guess. I don't know.
Extended.
Yeah, and doing that, and I'd get swords sometimes, but hey, that's fine. That's fair. Good fair magic.
Right. But it's just insane, the power creep. And if you ask me, if anything will break Magic the Gathering hard more than collectability falling, is too much power creep.
Yeah.
Because if Magic... All right, hold on a second. I got to get some food. It's almost 1 here. Have a great day. Have a great day, Time Capsule. Thank you for stopping by. So if power creep got too powerful in Magic, they'll just become Yu-Gi-Oh! And why not just play Yu-Gi-Oh? Because you can cast your spells legitimately for free.
Yep, exactly. And I agree. I think they need to start balancing it a little bit better. Like, to me, one of the most powerful, most broken cards is Dockside, Extortionist. And I run him in certain decks to abuse him. Like, you bring him out, then you cloud shift him, blink him, and just get massive amounts of treasures. You just overwhelm your opponent with mana advantage, and it can get brutal. Right.
But Dockside was something Red really needed. I won't lie.
That's true. Red did need some help.
Right. So the biggest problem I noticed with a lot of with red and white is they needed the most help when it came to mono-colored cards. Like Boros sucked as a commander color.
Yeah.
So they started introducing draw and mana ramp in their ways. The thing that hurts the worst is when you make a card just for mono red or make a card for mono white, it works good in other decks too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the tough part. That's where the balance issue comes in. How do you make a card like Dockside Extortions for red to have a good mana ability when you could run it in a teamer deck and just ramp even further?
Yep. Or in I play a lot of Jeskai. I'm kind of a control player, and I love storming. I love playing Artifact Storm, and he's just disgusting in there because I can unsummon, return him into my hand, and recast him.
Right. There's a interesting combo. It's a mill combo in Jeskai, but it's a Azorius combo. It's blue white. So you have Ornithopter. And you have this 3 mana white soldier dude, or whatever he was. Whenever an artifact or creature comes into play in whenever an artifact comes into play in tap target creature, or something like that. Let me see. So basically, there's blue spell that costs 1 blue, and it gives target creature the ability to tap to return a permanent to its owner's hand. Then, when an artifact comes into play, you untap them.
Uh-huh.
So you have them in the battlefield. You play the spell. You return Ornithopter to your hand. Then Ornithopter is a creature that's an artifact that comes into play. And when a creature comes into play, you untap them. So that's the combo right there. So you infinite blink this Ornithopter because that's an artifact, but it comes into play as a creature and taps this guy, so he keeps bouncing it. Then I used to run Alter the Brood, so every time a creature permanent came into play, build a card. But since you're casting Ornithopter for 0, infinite amount of times, that's adding to your storm count.
Yep, I ran that just to piss people off. Like, occasionally I'll run a salty deck. Just, if people get salty because I'm playing fair, then I'll be like, okay, you want to see salty? Here's Toxrill.
I remember running that combo in a Bant Fog, Turbo Foggish deck during Conjutar Cure. Yeah, you'll notice I love Turbo Fog when it comes to standard plays.
Oh, Turbo Fog's awesome.
Like during Conjutar Cure, I made my wife a 5-color Turbo Fog Dragons deck.
Oh, yeah,
and it worked out. It was basically Jeskai green, but 5 colors, like Jeskai green. It was worried about green, worried about ramp, worried about turbo fogging. Then once you got Jeskai Ascendancy out to help you loop your cards and get your draw engine on, draw to your fog engines, to your fog spells, then you got to a point where you start playing your dragon spells because all your dragons come into play, and when they attack, they do stuff. And you turbo fog with your opponent's attack, but you attack with the dragons. They all get abilities because that is the set where they're like whenever a dragon you control attacks, this happens. So you build up this combo with there was I can't remember the mana combo, but there was a spell that whenever you cast a creature spell, you untapped all creatures you control.
Oh wow.
And so every time, basically, you turbo fog, play a dragon until you can play dragons. Then every time you tapped your creatures, which you had mana dorks, the untap, tap. Oh, I think it was Jeskai Ascendancy. Let me read Jeskai Ascendancy.
I think when you cast a non-creature spell, your creatures get +1/+1 and untap, something like that. Yeah, I know what's...
Yeah, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may draw a card. If you do this card, you untap those creatures, get +1/+1. So, yeah. What the heck happened?
What in the hell?
Oh, I almost exited out of my thing.
Oh.
So basically, Turbo Fog, you play your non-creature spells, and I was running... in this deck, you're running Treasure Cruise. You delve into Treasure Cruise, but you tapped all your mana. You tapped all your mana dorks. Treasure Cruise for 1 mana. Play Dragon, then play another draw spell and tap your mana. Play another Dragon, and you're building up mana as you do this. And you find that, and with that loop, I can't remember the whole loop. But basically, you just untap your mana dorks to play all these creatures, and you swing out big, and it was just annoying. It was fun, but it was a big deck too. It was almost a commander deck size deck that ran and held up a good challenge.
Dude, honestly, I wish I had been around in the Tarkir block. I wish I had not quit during Theros.
Right. Well, Theros was a weird set. Like, if you didn't like enchantments, it was a tough set to play. And I can see where you quit during that.
Honestly, I quit because I was pissed at Wizards because they did not uphold their mythic rarity promise, and a lot of players were really pissed at them at that time for the same thing. I just shouldn't have quit over it.
What was their mythic rarity promise?
Yeah, so they had a mythic rarity promise, and they had a promise with the gods in the Theros boxes. And they were really hard to pull. Any of them were really hard to pull. And as a sort of apology when Journey into Nyx came out, the first run of them, they put out all god boxes where every pack contained a god in
Oh,
a mythic rare. Every pack was had their rare was a mythic rare. It was a god.
oh, that's insane. All right, I remember hearing about the God packs, but not for all boxes full of them.
Yeah, they sent out quite a few boxes where it was just nothing but god packs because players were really pissed at how hard it was to pull these things, and like Perforos was insane and still is insane. And if you didn't have him, you weren't winning.
No, especially with those little token combos they had.
Yeah, so it was really bad time. I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, but I should not have teamied out and quit then. I should not have. And really, I was just pissed because I bought a case and I got one god in 6 boxes. And many other people went through the same thing. They got one god in, a case, or 2 gods in a case, and that was it. It was like, what the hell, man? This is all mythic rares are supposed to be the same rarity, not have one mythic rare that's rarer than other mythic rares. There shouldn't be a rarity within a rarity.
All right, hold on. All right. Well, I just noticed on YouTube our live ended, so I don't think we're live anymore, but it's still saying we're live. And it's because I accidentally did something. Because I was checking on the stream and it started over, and now I'm looking at YouTube.
I'm seeing it showing live on my end.
Hold on, I'm raising my hand to see how legitimate this is. Wait, no, there's a. Okay, there we go. All right, so my thing flipped out. All right. Anyways, all right. The weird stuff is I actually have to get off because I have to get stuff ready for my son to go to work, and I gotta use the restroom.
All right, man.
Thanks for tagging along, joining, and having a good conversation.
All right, thank you for letting me jump on, man. I love chatting.
Oh yeah, chatting's fun. That's why I like these morning conversations. Like I know I have a topic set up, but if we can get people just chatting and having fun, that's pretty amazing.
Heck yeah.
Like I said, it's like a round table, but this is where we can BS and not have to feel structured.
Right.
Well, thank you, chat, for watching. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you for chatting with us. You guys have a good day. Peace.
Bye.
Peace.